Good morning. My name is Andy Hunt, and welcome to Amelia Island. In preparation for this meeting, I tried to learn as much as I could about Omnicare. One thing I learned is Omnicare is the #1 provider of pharmaceutical care for the elderly. How about a round of applause for all of you? Because of your hard work and your efforts, this milestone was reached. I'd like to speak with you a little bit about change today. But before I do that, I'd like to also tell you something else that I learned about Omnicare. Based in Covington, Kentucky, I had the pleasure of living in Lexington, Kentucky for a period of time a few years ago. Not too far from Covington, about 80 miles, I think. Beautiful state, Kentucky. But Amelia Island's not bad either, so please enjoy your time here in Amelia Island. But some interesting things when I was in Lexington. Number one, they don't name their streets after presidents or famous people. They name it after racehorses, which I thought was very interesting. Also got to visit two places that I never thought I would visit in my life. Number one, Corbin, Kentucky, the birthplace of Kentucky Fried Chicken, now Kentucky Grilled Chicken. And number two, I got to visit the burial place of a famous racehorse. Two things I never thought I would do. I mentioned earlier that I wanted to speak about change, but not just change, anticipating change. How many of you in the room have had a major change occur in your life, either personal or professional? Quite a few hands. What I'd like for you to think about as we're discussing this issue this morning is if you had been able to anticipate that change, would you have had a better outcome? Let's kind of roll the clock back. Let's go back in history to when mankind was moving from a hunter-gatherer society to an agricultural society. Before there were calendars. So you had a bunch of farmers. They had started planting wheat, vegetables, grains, whatever. Some farmers planted early. Some farmers planted too late. Some farmers planted on time. So the outcome was very, very haphazard. Some years were good yields, other years were not. The next year, because there was no calendar, it was all guesswork again. Then one day, a priest or someone looked up in the sky and said, it seems that every time that star, that constellation reaches this point in the sky, spring starts. Aha, the calendar was born. Then the farmers knew when to plant their crops. Yes, sometimes there's late frost, early frost, and so forth, but for the most part, it dramatically improved agricultural production, output skyrocketed, and civilization was on its way. Now let's fast forward a few years, say the 40s and the 50s with medicine. You know how many physicians used to practice medicine, and unfortunately some still do. Let's try this. Let's see what happens. If that doesn't work, let's try this. If that doesn't work, let's try this. So, no one really ever knew what the outcome would be. Some outcomes were good, some outcomes were bad. What has Omnicare brought to the marketplace? Outcomes research. Your huge database of what happens when certain products are used in certain types of patients in certain situations. So, your efforts have improved outcomes for patients and made the decision-making process for your customers much better. And now, before we take a break, I'd like to turn the program over